All right, we have here an Apple II. There's tons of these on YouTube, so I won't go into the details. This is a purchase I purchased from Free Geek in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis. It's a project, just like any old computer you get from there usually. Nothing really horribly wrong with this thing, other than it's missing a key, and most of these keys don't function, so I'm going to try to repair those. It boots and it outputs video perfectly, so there's nothing too crazy wrong with it. I wonder what was stuck here. Something was glued there at one point. I've already tested this and powered on. Don't remember what keys didn't work. But to get to it, you have to just disassemble it all. Lots of screws. It didn't come with any other cards besides the memory board. And I think I posted a picture once to one of the Apple forums how bodged this chip is. 16K RAM expansion card. Nothing special. I don't have any other cards for this thing. Wish I did. But for now, I just want to make the keyboard work, and we'll load some tape programs through a headphone jack just to test make sure there's no other faults. Probably be a bit of a long video unless I cut some things out. So let me get into tear it down. Let me tear it down. Get to the keyboard, and we'll come back to just the keyboard. And I mean, again, there's lots of these videos out there way better than mine. I'm just showing off some stuff that I have, and maybe somebody will like watching it. I don't know. So here we go. See if I can get somewhat close up. Of course, it doesn't want to focus. There you go. Why is it so hard to focus? Somebody went through the effort of soldering this little pin hitter on, and they did a good enough job that works anyway. Really? Here's the bottom side if anybody wanted to see the label. It's actually in really nice shape on the bottom. All the rubber feet are there. Not too scratched up. For as old as this thing is, they built them tough. Here's the board in all its glory. Simple enough. Here's the power supply. I'm probably going to open that up, check the refuzz, because that's common failure on these. Make sure it's not going to blow up on me. So we'll do that next. Well, the inside of this power supply, definitely don't have to worry about any refa capacitors. This has got already a more modern capacitor in there. It's a more modern supply by the looks of it compared to those old ones that you see on the videos all the time. Somewhere, yeah, it says made in Taiwan. I don't know if this is a replacement supply or what. So I'm going to put it back together. It's in good shape, no capacitor leakage. Not sure what to think about the heat shrink being a little shrunk on this cap, but it's not bulgy or anything, so maybe just a crappy capacitor. I mean, this is made in Japan or Taiwan. Made in Taiwan. Totally made a mistake there. Okay, moving on to the keyboard, I guess. Alright, got the keyboard out. Not the simplest thing to do, but not awful either. Just lots of screws. It's obviously really dirty. And these keys are awful dry is the word. Sticky, kind of dry. Sure, it's pretty common. I gotta figure out how to disassemble these. Wish I had that keycap. Be complete. I'll have to find one eventually. The keys come off relatively easy if you're gentle with it, so that's not a problem. I gotta pull all the keys and get them washed up. Really, I mean, soldering's not that hard. It's just a lot of them to do and to be careful with. So I believe I have to unsolder each one and clean out the problems, because I don't know. I don't think they come apart from the top, do they? I don't know. This is the first time I've ever dealt with an Apple keyboard of this era. So, and my power light doesn't work either, so I'm gonna have to replace the bulb or figure out something on that. Very nice construction, built to last. They even have these bars riveted on there to hold up even coolers. It's old enough to be made in USA. So, back when things were built to last, that's for sure. Revision A. I don't know if any of this stuff means anything to anybody, except the date's pretty cool. August 3 of 1979. This is the oldest computer I own for sure in my collection. I never actually, so I'm too young for this era computer. My computers I started using in school were like Macintoshes, LCs, stuff like that. Anything older than that I did not get to use as a child. So I have more connection to those than this. But I've always wanted an Apple II, and I lucked out at Free Geek, and now I have one. It's been a while. It's sitting on my bench bugging me. Fix the keyboard, so at least it's a usable computer. Find some cards for it later. People know what they want for those things on eBay. Anyway, I'm just rambling, so let's pull all the keys off and get a good tub of warm water and clean the parts, I guess. Bucket of water for the keycaps, just to show everybody I'm actually cleaning these. I'm not gonna record the whole thing because, well, time of video and who wants to watch that much stuff. I suppose I can figure out how to speed it up. But obviously, pull it off, bloop, pull the keys off carefully. I don't have like one of those little tools that go under the key, so I gotta be really careful. Just gently wiggle. And these sink really well. Sink right to the bottom. They don't even float like some of the key caps I've done before. That's crazy. But in any case, you get the idea. I'm gonna take them all off. They're gonna soak in the hot soapy water. Maybe clean them a little bit with my toothbrush. Get some nice shiny keys. There's plenty of dirt on them. At least they're not horribly grimy or anything. That wasn't stored in a barn like a lot of my junk. Alright, I will show you after all the keys are removed. Alright, all the keys At least the keycaps are all in the hot water, getting the nice soaking. They're not super dirty, so I know it'll be easy to scrub and dry and clean these off. The fun part comes next, removing the switches. It's just so much work, time consuming little things like this, but it'll be worth it because it will be all clean and nice and functional. At least I really hope so. It'd be really bummer if I do all the work and I still get one that doesn't work. I'm sure I can get them all cleaned up though. Can definitely clean the PCB off and get all the dirt out of this thing. I will cut it off right here and be back when I get the soldering iron all heated up, and we'll pull off a cap and we'll figure out how it comes apart. Get it flowing good, and you gotta stick it on there and be quick about it. This is gonna take me forever. You know, when it works great. You gotta get it right. I have solder wick, but it's really crappy solder wick. Doesn't help that the fan is cooling everything off. Let's see here, where's my nippers at? Do it this way. Let's flux it. Let's see if the wick will work better. I don't use this wick. It's really not that great. And you gotta have lots of heat. I'm not having luck with this one. The other one right here was, it just no problem, sucked all the solder out. Why this one's being the one random one I pick for the video has to be just stubborn. And I don't want to ruin traces. Better tools. I need better tools. I'm gonna get frustrated with this and give up because this will take way too long. that was ridiculous. Cut it out. Apparently there was too much solder sticking through. And I hope I'm not damaging the internal parts. Plastic gets soft, and I gotta figure out something better for this. Maybe I'll have to do like I did with that one, pull it out manually. It's actually pretty thick vias that it has to go through, and I guess the solder was cooling off too fast. I thought this was going to be a lot easier. This one was no problem. This is the spacebar switch. I guess it doesn't have any vias that go off on the top. Yeah, that's why it was easier. The heat didn't get wicked away as fast. Complications in life. This is gonna be a lot harder than I anticipated. Found a quicker method. Makes a mess, of course. I mean, you know, all the solder splatter, which can be cleaned up. It's just splatter. I mean, it doesn't look pretty. Definitely looks a lot worse than this, but that was just not gonna work. It does splatter a little bit up top too. I can find it on the camera here. There, a little bit of splatter on top from the one I did there. I think that's gonna be the way I have to do it though. As long as you're not spraying in it like this, I'll have to like spray a different direction. Keep it off the more heavy pins and stuff. When I get over here, it might be a little more challenging. But for now, it's just splatter. I'm just taking carefully. Just flakes off, so it'll clean up. Just makes a mess. Doesn't look as pretty. But yeah, I guess that's how I'm going to do it. I'll show you really quick. It'd be challenging to do on camera, but I should be able to on the bench here. Got my air hose here and a compressor under this bench. Let's do one more on video just to show you what I'm talking about and how messy and awful it is. But it's honestly working, so if it's quicker that way, I'm going to do it. Hopefully I can see what I'll be doing. I can't see my camera if it's going to be in view or not, so hopefully it is. Get it melting. Give it a quick shot of air. Melting, shot of air. Done. Way quicker than trying to deal with my sucker. The key basically just fell right out, no problem. So that's how I'm going to do it. I got a lot of keys to do. And I'll be back when I have them all done. Alright everyone, there it is. All the switches removed except the light socket. Just clean around it. I did unsolder it, but I left a screw in, so this side, well, this is why I took all the keys out, so I could get this cleaned up. It's just dirty, and I'm not happy with that. Got a lot of cleaning up to do with the solder, spraying everywhere. Yes, it makes a mess. It looks awful, but it honestly comes off really easy. You can just either scrape it off lightly or use the soldering iron and it just melts it off. So the cleanup really nice. It just looks bad right now. And the little bulb I'll have to replace with something. It's burnt out. But there we go. All of them removed. That wasn't too bad blowing the solder. I wouldn't recommend that method. It's messy You got to protect yourself. I should probably use gloves. The splatter gets kind of hot. And make sure you're wearing eye protection when you're going to blow solder around, because you don't want that stuff in your eyes. But there they are, all the switches. Wish I had replacement switches. If they made new replacement type, I would just solder in new clicky switches. That'd be pretty sweet, actually. Anyways, there's that far. Now I got some cleaning to do and prep work to do, so I can put them all back in and resolder them. But that'll be a little tedious resoldering, but not too bad. Should go fairly well. No traces are broken this way. I like, you know, you don't have to get it too hot. You just melt it, and a lot of them just fell out. Sometimes I gotta add a little heat to pull them out. And yeah, there's that. Here's the magical liquid deoxit. And as one of my favorite YouTubers would say it, deoxit that socket. Adrian's a good channel to watch. He's very technical in all his videos, and is really good about explaining everything. I've learned a lot from his videos and many other YouTubers. But we're going to take and use this, since I can't tear apart the switches like I was hoping. I mean, if a guy really had the time, you'd probably... I gotta clean solder off first on all these before I do this, but I'm just gonna get in there with the straw, give it a bunch of squirts, and work it really good, I guess. And I hope that'll work. I just can't see wanting to split these apart and then trying to glue them back together. Also, I gotta remember to put these in the right way, but it should be easy enough with the pin holes to put it back in the board properly, because they're slightly, let's see if I can focus on this, they're slightly angled for the keys, so I have to put them back the right orientation. Again, with the holes, it should line up right. I believe the curve went up towards the top anyway. I'll have to reference myself on that. Alright, let's get things cleaned up. The solder, the blobs everywhere, the mess I made. Yes, probably can't see it good on the camera, but it has definitely got an angle to it. Alright, let's get this thing reassembled and cleaned up. Okay, so I have a mess of switches everywhere. These all cleaned up really good. They're all soaked in deoxit really well, of course, but every one of these tested good for ohming and no shorts, no flakiness. Awesome. I got a handful of ones that will need to be worked more. They're kind of flaky, but they do work. Got one here that just wants to be open circuit, kind of like I can get it to maybe do something, but it really doesn't want to. So that one's being crap. I got one tore apart or cracked open here. It's very, you pretty much wreck it, the plastic, pulling it apart. It didn't want to split properly. But we'll pull that apart in a second here, just to see what's going on. This was one of the shorted ones. I can't remember. Maybe this was an open circuit one too. Or no, this one I broke. Of course, the leg broke. Really, really careful with these. They are flimsy, and I think it's also shorted also. Something about it didn't work. And we got these four here that are also shorted. No matter what you press, they're supposed to be open circuit until you press them. That creates a short. It's a switch on off. Simple. So we got 5 of them that are shorted for sure. Say 6 with that other one that I broke the leg on. tear this one apart and try to repair it. Really not meant to be repaired. So let's see here. It's kind of, the spring's gonna want to pop out. There it goes. Oh, there it goes. Let's do it this way. Let's see. I'm really not sure what to find in here. There's some little metal pieces. Oh man, are these flimsy as heck. Wow. This will probably be beyond my repair skills. Oh wow. That's how they're doing it? Pushing in there? No wonder Deoxit doesn't work that great. It's like a flat switch. I wonder if my solder spray is just bridging the two gaps. I can't see it on this one. It looks like there's some little solder splatter in there. Let's get you guys zoomed up in here. Sorry about my fingers. I have working hands. But yeah, I can't believe that's how they're doing it. Touching a contact, like pushing against like a little flat switch. I was expecting something else. That is very interesting. And they insulate it. Like there's a metal plate back here. And this touches it. The metal plate in between with the circle there. Wow. Well, I had to know how it works. So deoxying might have been kind of a waste. Trying to get that in between the layers. Maybe it, yeah, I don't know. We could follow it through the legs maybe, instead of through the top. I was thinking it had a different design. This goes on top. Pushes on there somehow. Wow. Anyway, just in case anybody wanted to see one of these apart, I don't know that I can put it back together. I sure will try. But I got 4 other ones that are shorted, so 5, 6, something like that. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I might just have to order some to put on that board because I want this keyboard to work, not just be, oh, half keys here missing, and it's got to work. That it's just not really useful. It looks cool on the shelf, I guess. I don't want it that. I want to be able to use it. Have to share some crazy success. This is nuts, and wow. You have to be incredibly patient. I don't know how they manufactured these switches, but I was able to repair this one. What happened was my solder blowing, and that's kind of what I figured, ended up creeping through the passageways and creating an internal short. So if you're going to do the solder blow method, just be aware that it does that. I mean, I didn't have them all do it, thankfully. But, let's see if I can do this on camera. It's hard to do as it is without. Put it on the pin here. No more, so no more shorts. No more short there. And I push the switch, and it works. But oh man, I'm not gonna say an hour, but half an hour to do that. One switch. And I'd just buy more, but I had a quick look on eBay, and man, they want too much money for these darn things. So there's one repaired out of 4, maybe 5 more to go. Hey, yeah, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish ones to do. I'm not gonna bore you with trying to record that much video, but just trust me, putting those little pieces together and lining them up so that the finger can push. It's doable, but have some patience. So I will continue, and hopefully I can repair the rest of them. So this is like the fourth one I'm taking apart, and let's see if it focuses. But the solder ends up like just climbing up both legs. Gotta love air pressure, I suppose. But I gotta pick all that out on both sides and reassemble these things. I wish I could show reassembly. It's really not easy. I could try to video it. Yeah, I guess I can edit the emptiness. Or speed it up a little bit, but it is such a small little piece. I'll show you the little piece in question here if I don't lose it. This is just ridiculous. My fingers are too big for it. It is super small, this little springy piece. And this is an important piece. It pushes against the switch contact. And putting it back in place, I've found I can do it where there's my this little thing, little needle nose plier, and if you just grab one corner and stick it in there and shove it in, it's not this piece, but that pushes against this tab in the center there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. Pushes against that, and that as it moves up and down. Really a dumb switch design, honestly. It's just, I mean, when it worked, it probably worked great. I don't know, but reassembly is a pain in the butt. So I got a couple more switches to do after this one. Well, it's almost like 3. I figure what happened to this one. This one I don't think is shorted. It just doesn't work. So I'm not sure what happened. If it came disconnected inside or what. Maybe it oxidized. I don't know. But that's that one. And this one, I will have to like figure out how to fix that. Resolder it carefully. I don't know. It's gonna be really challenging. Or maybe I'll just use a piece of wire. But that leg broke on me. And this one is shorted also. Alright, it's getting later, so I'm not going to finish this video yet. We will definitely finish this project. I don't want to leave it laying around, and I want it to work. So I'm close. I'm getting close, guys. I'm not taking apart the flaky ones that kind of sort of work. They're just going to have to live with it. Oh, yeah. Having switch fun. Alright, I'll zoom in on this just so everybody can see the actual issue of these not making good contact. When it's all together, you can't really see the metal fins together. But you can actually see some oxidization here. Oh, no! Oh, crap. That's going to be fun putting it back together. Shouldn't have took it apart. But yeah, there's corrosion on it. You'll just have to believe me if you can't see it very good. So I'll clean it up a little bit before I put it back together. But that's what's going on some of these ones that are really bad. But deoxit does work its way in there. This one had quite a bit in it, so it will work. Just not really that great. And I do not recommend taking these apart to manually clean these. I really just deoxit and hope it works. If not, then just replace it. It's just not worth the time. This is a lot of work. A lot more than I was anticipating, for sure. Well, in case anybody wonders how I'm taking these apart, it's pretty careful. They are glued between the seams. So I take on the table and I put the knife in between the crack and carefully get it in there. You don't want to slam it because you just destroy stuff. But if you can get it to crack, it'll pop open. And then just keep prying and be really careful around the leads because these are very thin and will break very easily. And also to fix the solder bridging, it's a lot easier to pop it partially open, pull the spring out the center, and then kind of pick the solder out, because then you don't have to deal with the little metal tab. It'd be really hard to see. If I can zoom in good enough to see it. But right in there is a little copper colored, there you go, copper colored tab, and that thing likes to fling everywhere, and it's a pain in the butt to put back in place. So if anybody wants to attempt this kind of craziness, then they can look at this reference. Alright guys, the next day I finally got all of them repaired. That was a lot of frustration, and you know, if one's a person that likes to use cuss words, it would take some cuss words. And yes, I used the soldering iron to melt them together. It seems pretty good. It will pop apart. I don't know if using it will make them come apart. Maybe I should put some JB Weld on over top of the solder to help hold them together. But they're all done. The only one that has just a tiny bit of flake to it is this one, and I might use it as the reset key or something. But anyways, yeah, it's the next day and I finished up the 4 or 5 switches I had left. So now that these are done, we have to work on cleaning up the circuit board, cleaning up the mess of the solder, spray, and the dirt, and reassemble it, and then test them in the circuit, make sure none of them are shorted and all are functional, and then put it back together and see if the Apple II will work right. That will be impressive. This has been a challenge for me, guys. Didn't think it was going to be that bad tearing it down. Like, oh, it's keyboards. I've dealt with keyboards before. It'd be easy. Yeah. Unless you got the patience, I wouldn't mess with these switches. I did find a slightly easier way to clean the solder out of there by just kind of partially opening it up and pulling the spring out and getting in there with my pick without disassembling it fully, because that little metal push button clip, whatever you want to call it, sometimes it'll pop in nicely, but there's other times where it just will not go for you, and it just gets frustrating. So there we go. Keys are cleaned, keys are working. Now we have to put all those screws and circuits back together. And I'll get back on that. Alright, just to show my cleanup of the solder splatter everywhere. I still gotta wipe this down a little more. But it is possible to clean it all up. A little bit of scraping, heat, solder, making sure nothing bridged. And I just gotta reassemble every switch in this thing, put them in with the screws, and then we'll go to town soldering. It's coming along very, very, very slowly. This turned out to be a more couple-day project than I anticipated, for sure. But I guess that's what you get with working with old computers. They can be a challenge. Some are great and it take you a minute to put together, and oh cool, it works. Especially this older stuff though. I should have just known better. That's why I kind of kept putting it off. I'm like, I don't want to work on that Apple yet. It's going to be a long tedious thing. But it's getting there, and we're gonna get it together. And I hope when I resolder the legs, I'll have to do it quick and not let the solder melt too much down into the switches, and hope that none of them are shorted. Otherwise I gotta take it out, take it apart, clean the solder out again. So if you're doing these, definitely use a better solder sucker. Like, I don't have one of those ones with the air pumps in it. I should really get one. This is definitely gonna make me want to get one of those more. So that'll be on the next purchase one day. All right, assembly and solder time. All right, slowly coming along. Got the whole row of number keys in. Haven't soldered anything. I'll solder it all when I get every key back in. It is nice that they have those screws to hold them in there, which will make soldering this a lot easier. But there we go. We got a number row. Now the rest of the keyboard, one by one, taking my time. Gotta be really careful when you put the legs through the hole, because these are very fragile little legs on these switches. But if you get a way to, like, my blowing air method is kind of dumb and mean. Piece of fuzz in that hole, but it's very important to get those holes perfectly cleaned out so the switches, the legs will go through, and then you can put the screws on. Makes it way easier. Like, if I had to like hold a soldering iron every single one of these switches, oh, it'd be awful. So blowing the solder out wasn't worth it. For the assembly process, yes. For the fact that it got up in the switches and made a few of them short, and the tedious process of fixing them, I would definitely recommend not doing that method. Yeah, plus it makes a mess. All my stuff has got splatter on it, which is, I knew that would happen. It's whatever. Anyway, I'll keep on it until I finish that and solder it up and hopefully reassemble it in the Apple II. I really hope they work. Oh, I really hope it works. On to the last row. Putting them all in. It's starting to look like a keyboard again. That's nice. And that they've been all lubed up. They are nice and smooth. That one's a little chunky. I don't know, I think it'll be typeable. It's not going to be great. Oh, tedious work. Patience. Patience, a lot of patience with this stuff. Then I'll have to solder it. That'll take a little bit of time too. Won't be too bad. Can't wait to see if this works. I'll have to individually test every key once I solder it, just to make sure that there's no shorts, because otherwise then you have a stuck key and the keyboard's not going to work. Keep on going. Alright, we got them all soldered. There's, I think, 2 keys now. I got one, so I got 2 questionable shorted keys. Well, one shorted for sure. The other one works but has some resistance, so I'm thinking maybe it's got a little bit of solder bridge. So we got 2 keys to work with here, which is pretty good on all of them, not gonna lie. That's a mess. So I'm gonna try to do what I did to this one up here. I hold it upside down, solder it, and kind of shake it, see if I can get the solder to come downward, and it might cure the problem. If not, I'll have to remove the switches and deal with that. But honestly, 2 out of all 55 keys, they're numbered, man. They got numbers. Yeah. Well, technically it's 54 because the 50 one over here is the light. So, all right, keep going. Getting there though. Can't wait to get it all together. All right, should we test the Apple keyboard now? After all these keys, no shorts anymore. Let's just hope for the best. Everything's plugged in. I got it supported so it don't short out, hopefully. Hooked up to the computer. And see what happens. It's plugged in. And my video's all wacky. Why? Because my cable probably. Oh, there we go. The cable's wacky. There we go. There's a 0. Why is there a 0? That's the reset key. Reset works. And that one is not. Alright. Of course. Well, that's why we're testing. Why is there so many characters at the same time? And then a semicolon. What the heck? Those are the arrow keys. Why is that /9? That's not even close to the 9s. What's going on here? Spacebar? No spacebar either. Oh, well. There we go. Came to life. Switch is dirty. Z's, X. I mean, there's a lot more keys that are working now. Comma. Not sure what to think about the /9 thing. 1, 2, 3. Wow, 3 is jumpy. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Is that 0? It does not work. That works. That works. Reset works. Which was a flaky key to begin with. Those are different. Whatever those keys are, I don't remember. Q works. W is a little flaky. Typical Apple keys. So we got 2 keys that are doing P's. Both of these are making P's. Is there a repeat? I have to look at the picture. Oh, is that the O key? Yeah, that one's gonna have to be figured out. Semicolon N, what's that about? Don't think that's supposed to be that way. Wow, triple X. And then we got another key here that's weird. 2N. So you have 2 weird keys. Otherwise, well, maybe 3 weird keys. 2 or 3 weird ones. But that's significantly better than it was when I first got this thing. I think there was like 3 keys maybe that worked total. Well, I think I'll do some deoxit on some of the things like the chip here, connections, before I try to That one key, the O. This one, I'll have to probably fix. It's not making contact or something. So, there we are. We're at that far already. I'm so close. So close. It's almost usable. Not quite. Well, I'm going to put this project on hold for now. It did accomplish something anyway. Got most of the keys, if not all of them, to do something when you touch it. Something with the O or 0 key. If you flex it just right, it'll actually do zeros, but if you touch it, nothing. One of these two, whichever one it was. And we got this semicolon that puts the N there. Spacebar was fine, but now it's got like a 7 and a bunch of spaces. There was one more. Yeah, I'm gonna quit on this for now. Take a break. Well, I was hopeful. It would have been really cool to have this put back together. I'm going to put it back together for now, just so I don't lose anything. And come back to this craziness. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I'll look at the keyboard a little close. Because if you like twist it kind of, it'll do a bunch of O's. Occasionally reset or other things if I flex it. So we got something. These little switches are doing weird things, or there's something on the board. If I had another keyboard laying around, I'd just try it. But this is the only Apple II I have, so I don't really have any spare parts to test. That's why I went through so much work to clean and try to rebuild these switches. Well, again, probably just gonna put it together for now. Share my misery with the rest of YouTube, and maybe other people that have dealt with this stuff can share their mindset on how frustrating it is to deal with some of these switches. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope everyone enjoys the suffering I had to go through. I didn't record all of it. It would have been like a really long video if I did. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Till next time.